What's up, everybody? Sam Myers here. Today I want to show you Make the Bass to I Like the Way You Kiss Me by Artemas. Now I posted a short version of this tutorial and Artemas replied to my tutorial video and told me what he actually used. So I'm going to show you how I remade this sound using Serum, and then I will show you the plugins that he used and how you can get something similar using what he actually used in the original song. Here's what we're going to make today. All right, so let me talk about the sound. I have two layers. I have a bass layer, and the bass layer I feel like is not as sidechained as the higher layer. So I don't know if he only used one synth and was able to maybe just take the high end and just sidechain the high end more, which you can do with like a multi-band compressor. But what I ended up doing is just using a sub. So here's my sub. And I have a light sidechain at 53%. And this, I have a bit of EQ. And in Serum, I have a square wave. And I have my envelope 1 right here with a bit of reduction in the sustain. The voicing's on mono. And I've got this low 24 filter and a bit more EQ in the effects section. And so that is how I made the sub. So I was able to use Lala, that AI stem extracting software or the app online. And if you just listen to the low end here, it's not perfect when you extract these stems, but if you just listen to the low end here, then you can hear how like the low end does not sound as sidechained as the top end, and you'll hear what I'm trying to describe when I said that earlier. So you can almost hear that low end, that rumble that sounds like that 16th note is coming through with not too much sidechain, bum, 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 bum. And then you hear the high part going, da, da, da. So that's why I did a bit of different sidechaining on the high part. So that is a high part, or the main synth by itself with kickstart on 100%. So let's just go ahead and break down this part in Serum that I made for the main part of the synth. And I will open up Serum, initialize this preset. So voicing at mono, turning on this sub, I felt like it had a little bit of like beefiness to it. So turn on this sub, lower the octave -2 and raise up this level. And then for the oscillator A, I am going to do the basic mini, which is modeled after the mini Moog. Take up this unison to 16 and then, 16, and then lower this one octave and I will do the detune 10. Now the sound doesn't sound wide to me. In the original track, the bass doesn't sound wide. So I'm going to go into my global and lower the width of this oscillator to 0. Makes it a bit quieter, but I am going to add on some multi-band compression to bring up that level. So for the envelope 1, I'm just going to leave this alone. Maybe I'll give it a bit of release, but the envelope 2, I'm going to shape this, give this a curve, and take down this decay. Let's set this to like 650. Let's check out this curve, just zooming in there. I'm going to go into my effects, and this is where I will add on the multi-band compressor and just check out my settings here. This is going to be very loud. Let me turn this down. So that is my multi-band compressor. Everything is really flat sounding. Then I will add on a filter. So I chose the low 18 filter, and I will assign my envelope 2 to this cutoff, taking down the modulation to about 55. I have the resonance up to 25, the drive to 20, and the fat to 20 as well. Now what I do is I add on the hard clip, and the hard clip I have the drive at 40 and the mix at 35. And then I'm going to add on some EQ around 2 kilohertz. So that is a boost of about 6 dB boost in that 2 kilohertz range. And I believe I have like a low shelf here, taking down the gain of the low end too at like 2 dB. So then you add on the kickstart, and I will add on the sub now. So here is the bass, high part, and the sub together. With the drums one more time. So that is how I recreated it in Serum. Now, when Artemas told me what he used, he said that he used the Arteria Mini Moog and then a plugin called Sketch Cassette. So the Mini Moog in Arteria is called the Mini V. I have the Mini V3 currently, which I believe they now have the Mini V4. Looks like this. I honestly find these type of synths hard to use because of all the knobs. They try to make them look the vintage old style. So that's why I just like using Serum, because it feels a bit more intuitive to me. So after that, I have this Sketch Cassette. I just downloaded the demo version because I didn't have this plugin before and I wanted to try it out. This is what he said that he used. He said he used a lot of this. I don't know what setting he used for this, but it is like a tape saturation, like a cassette tape saturation. So you can add a bunch of noise to this, some like wow, flutter, and then there's some compression and stuff. So I don't really know like what the exact settings. So I tried adding on some OTT after that and EQ. And then here is my kickstart as well with that sidechaining. So what I was able to come up with, I don't feel like was as close to the original. I feel like my version of in Serum, I got a bit closer to the original. So we can take a listen to this Arteria bass. And layer that with the sub. And play it with the drums. So let me just show you what I did in that Arteria bass. So let me take off the OTT, the EQ, and also the kickstart, and also this Sketch Cassette. So in the Mini V, there are 3 oscillators. I have the first oscillator on this saw triangular, volume all the way up, but on this octave that is the 32. Then an octave up, I have a sawtooth or a saw wave oscillator, and I have the fine tuning off set a tiny bit. This is turned on, and then this one is turned off. See, it's kind of hard to see, but that's off, that's on. So these two are on. I'm just using those 2 oscillators, and then I have my filter, which is here. So you can check out what the setting is, my filter emphasis, the contouring, then my decay, sustain level. Then I have this switch turned on, which is the unison switch. And when you turn on the unison switch, now down here, this poly pops up. And this is where you can add your voices of unison, or I think it's like more voices. I think when it opens up, it might be on like 4 or 8. And I put it on 16 to get it to have those voices of unison. So without it, it sounds like this. And then you turn that on. So that adds all those voices of unison. So you can copy these settings, the rest of these, if you see anything else in here that I didn't touch on. So then after that, I added on the Sketch Cassette. So with it, so not a huge difference. I'm probably not doing something right in this Sketch Cassette with how he used it, because I didn't really notice too much of a difference. So that's why I added on the OTT at about 30%. Just kind of flatten it out a bit more, and then I added on some EQ around 2 kilohertz. So adding on the kickstart now, and we can listen to that Arteria bass versus the bass in Serum now. I feel like that one in Serum is still closer to me. I don't know the exact settings he used in this Mini V, and also I'm just not super familiar with the synth. So if you want to try it and you can get closer using these plugins, these are the exact ones that he told me that he used, was this Mini V and the Sketch Cassette. So if you do just want to grab this preset, I'll put it in my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like. And also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my Serum preset packs, head on over to store.sansmyers.com.